Well, we're here in the gym where David's legacy, he made a legacy here. His legacy is still here. And we was very proud that he had a chance to come to, at the time, Chesterfield Community High School. And he was very special. He was special, and he had the charisma and love of all people everywhere. And we miss him.
David was a unique, gifted young man, and he just had everybody up in the air when they called his name to hit the floor. He would do his little jiggle. He was very comical, and he was a kid that had a lot of life in him.
David Copeland was shot and killed in the early morning hours of May 15th, 2014. It was right around midnight. David just got home. He was working a job while he was home on a break from college. He arrived home shortly after he was inside his residence, hanging out with family and friends. Somebody saw that there was some unusual activity outside, which prompted David and his family and friends to go outside to just kind of see what was going on due to some past events that they've been having problems with in that area. David and his friends went outside. When they went outside, they saw two suspects. One of the people that was with David engaged one of those two suspects in a conversation, and ultimately the two suspects pulled out guns and began to fire. Once the gunfire broke out, David and his friends ran from the area. In the process of that, Mr. Copeland was struck and he died at the scene.
Any death of a young man or woman is one too many, but this is exponentially tragic in that Mr. David Copeland was a role model in his community and was using his talents as a basketball player to continue the betterment of his life and was attending college in Louisiana. He was home handling some family matters when this homicide occurred.
Well, the night I got the call, it was late, and usually when I get late calls, it's sometimes not good, you know. So when I got the call and nobody was telling me, they just said I need to come to the area, actually where he was killed.
The phone rang, and then she said, I think you need to come, to the apartment building. And I said, at this time of the night? On the way to the place where he got shot, I was just praying because I just felt a sadness came over. So at that time, when I got to the scene, I still wasn't told what had happened. I saw the officers and I saw the unit, and it hit me that my son must be out there somewhere.
Several of the residents of that area, this occurred at a apartment complex, several of those residents called 911 for shots fired in the area. A large police response then ensued. Once the officers responded and they got some background information on what actually happened, they started to look for victims of the shooting, and in the process of that, behind one of the buildings, they found David Copeland lying, and he was pronounced dead at the scene.
When I got there, I was told, of course I was in shock, I knew something wasn't right, and I have, 3 sons. So I didn't know which one it might be. But when they told me it was David, I went to shock.
This is the general area where Mr. Copeland and his roommates came out to. Once they were out here, there was the brief altercation, and moments later, the gunfire erupted. And once that happened, David went in this general direction, and as he was walking away, it was when he was shot. And after that point, he went around the bush here in between the two apartment buildings. And then he went down to the end of the sidewalk here and collapsed a short distance in the grass.
This has been a very long-term investigation for the agency. It's been worked very thoroughly. A lot of people have been interviewed that were interviewed that night and the days, months, and years following. We do know that there was 2 suspects involved in this, given accounts by witnesses at the scene and those that were also the victims, those people that were ultimately with David at the time of the shooting. Accounts by the witnesses said that the 2 suspects are black males in their late teens to early 20s, and that after the shooting, the 2 suspects fled on foot.
I think it's important to let the world know that love conquers hate, regardless of who it is. Love conquers hate, and forgiveness is a number 1 key. For the person that may be watching this who have committed the crime, we have forgiven that individual, and we just want you to have peace in your mind, and maybe you will turn yourself in, and that would be wonderful to do. But young people, don't hold back information, because it could be your family, and you would want justice. And that's what I would say.
Well, we pray that we know there's people that know what happened. David deserved better. He deserved better. He was so much to the community. And we know there's people that's saying they love him and they have information about what happened that night, and they either scared or they're afraid, or they just don't want to be involved. We are just asking for their help. We're asking for their help. The police officers are asking for their help. The community is asking for help. Anybody with any kind of information about a crime need to step up and do the right thing and contact the authorities. In David's case, we are praying that's what they do in reference to David's murder. It's been 6 years. It'll be 6 years in May. The murderers should have been caught by now, but the police officers need their help. They need help. And the only way you can do that is people in the community to start stepping up and doing what they're supposed to do.
At this point in our investigation, we're constantly reviewing the evidence that we have in the case and looking at new technology that's available, and we're constantly submitting evidence to be reevaluated with that new technology to try to make more leads in the case. The Copeland family has turned this tragedy into a positive event for others that have lost family members and friends and relatives. They have been a great supporter of victim advocates here in the county, and they have created a David Copeland Foundation, which gives out a scholarship to great athletes in the community. The family is really looking for some kind of closure. The family wants to know ultimately why this happened and who is responsible for the death of their son, who by all accounts was a great individual, hard worker, great athlete, and a great student.
I am confident that the hard work and the dedication of the investigators assigned to this case, and with the assistance, and most importantly with the assistance from the public, will bring the people that were responsible for his death to justice. The Copeland family deserves that.
At this point, we're looking for help from the members of the community those that lived in the area, those that may have talked to the suspects, or those that may have heard possible rumors as to what happened. We really need those people to come forward and provide us with the information of what they have.
In conjunction with our partners from the Chesterfield County Police Department, we are offering a reward of $2,500 for information leading to the arrest of those responsible for the shooting death of Mr. David Copeland. Those that have the information to provide, and there are people with that information out there, please contact the Chesterfield County Police Department or ATF at 1-888-ATF-TIPS, which is 1-888-283-8477, or you can email that information at atftips@atf.gov.
At this point, we just need help to bring closure to the Copeland family as well as the rest of the community.